I had the brain rot. You know why? Because because I've been working on my businesses on Instagram and stuff, and I use Instagram a lot because of business purposes. Okay, and suddenly sometimes like when somebody of when some of your client or some of your customers send a reel just to think they have a little humor. You don't have a humor. Okay, they think they have a humor. They send the most unfunny meme that is the most mainstream, and then by just sheer coincidence you scroll up because you have been doing that your whole life. In my vision, brain rot is nothing but just a perspective of your mind or a state of your mind where you don't want to do anything good for you and you just want to consume. That is what brain rot is. You watch endless memes, amazing memes. I'm not saying memes are bad. Amazing memes, the memes that have the next level humor that you need a lot of information to just crack that meme. You do that, but even after watching, what do you get? Nothing. And you won't even laugh because you have to figure it out. And you might think, yeah, this is interesting, but you won't laugh. You will. Most people I see look at memes is just like this. They are just like this while watching memes. And what does happen with this meme thing? It The new thing is brain rot. The brain rot, it exists for a long time. Brain rot is just a condition of your mind that your brain is overstimulated and you just want to consume everything, not want to do anything productive, anything good. You don't want to produce, you don't want to do anything, you just want to consume. Why? Because your brain is overstimulated and your brain needs a break, and you can't give it a break because you are addicted to watching content. Okay, that is just what brain rot is. Okay, in a nutshell, or I think this is the true definition of brain rot. I don't know what the definition of is on brain rot online. Let me see up. Let me look up. What is brain rot? What is brain rot? Let's see what it says. Mental decline or fogginess. That is also true. That is also true. You're mentally declining. You are becoming a you understand what I was gonna say. You are becoming that, and you are having fogginess in your brain. That is what brain rot is. And how to solve it? I had the brain rot. You know why? Because because I've been working on my businesses on Instagram and stuff, and I use Instagram a lot because of business purposes. Okay, and suddenly sometimes like when when some of your client or some of your customers send a reel just to think they have a little humor. You don't have a humor. Okay, they think they have a humor. They send the most unfunny meme that is the most mainstream, and then by just sheer coincidence you scroll up because you have been doing that your whole life. As a kid, when I used to play video games when I was like 6 7 8, I think I played video game till 12. I don't know. I think I played video game till 12, and I also watched reels at that time. So because of the habit, I just scrolled up, and from that day to a month, it take time. It didn't go like this. Okay, it took time. It took a lot of time. It took like first day when I did this for first time after a long time, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Now the next day same thing happened. Somebody sent the reel, then I scrolled past 2 3 4 5 reels. Then the next day I wake up and I open the Instagram reel. No, I didn't open the Instagram reel section. I searched for a creator. I was looking for him and I binge watched his content on Instagram, his reels. And the next day I started watching reels, and the next day it happened like I started watching a lot of reels. But what happened with at that time is that is what basically you call brain rot. That I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to even produce anything. Like I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything productive. I just want to consume. And I analyzed that situation and I figured it out. And nobody on the internet I have seen talk about this thing that you that you have that high level of consciousness, then When you are in a trench, you know you are in a trench, and you figuring out how to get out of it. And how I got out of it? Very easily. Okay, it wasn't even a very hard thing, but it might be very hard for you. And don't be like, yeah, I am demotivated now because it is very hard for me. You should be grateful that you even knew about this thing. You should be grateful for that. And now I'm gonna tell you how to cure your brain rot. It is very easy. It is not as hard as people might say. If you are not using for Instagram for business purposes, it is super easy. Just delete Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. Just that. And if you watch status on WhatsApp, most people don't. Very old people watch status on Instagram, on WhatsApp. But the thing is, I I got into this habit of watching status, so I watch that. There is no brain rot content there. There are basically a few people I know that just post about their life. Most likely that is the religious. They post something religious, this that. So just delete those three apps, and any app that is giving you dopamine, anything, and delete all those apps. You delete all those apps, and now, for just 2 days, I'm not telling you to do it for a year or two. For just 2 days, don't watch anything. You won't die. And if you even have a business, don't delete the Instagram. Delete YouTube and delete Facebook, or I don't even know if you use Facebook, but delete Facebook and Snapchat, all of those things, and keep Instagram for businesses, and don't open Reels tab. And even if your client sends you a funny meme, don't watch it. Just react with a laughing emoji. Okay, just do that. And after 2 days, you will realize you are not completely fixed. I'm not saying you will be completely fixed, but it has dropped to like 80%. Yes, it has been dropped by 80%. If you are feeling like you don't want to do anything, now you're feeling like, I still don't want to do anything, but I can do it. I can do the work. But in my mind, I'm not very happy with it, but I can do the work. That is what dopamine detox is, and that is what also how you can cure your brain rot. And this term, when I see brain rot, I used to think like this term when I first saw it. I think brain rot. I first thought it was a disease in something, like your brain is rotting. I didn't thought it was because of watching reels. Then I realized the term, and it is nothing but just fogginess or overstimulation. I would prefer overstimulation rather than saying brain rot. But for the viewers of the Gen Z population, I have to say this. I'm also a Gen Z, but I don't like to that associate with it that much. Okay, see you in the next one.